BLUF Gaming here with a 4 belt to 6 belt balancer and splitter for Factorio 0.15x. There are multiple designs to achieve the same effect, however this is my preferred one because it's only 6 belts wide, which is exactly the number you have outgoing, and that means you can fit more than one of these very close together, which you often need to do at a train depot. Train depots are exactly why this is such a useful splitter, because only 6 inserters can reach the side of a train car. That's your bottom line up front. If you want to see exactly how this works when we build it up, and if you want to see the hidden 4 belt balancer that's inside of this design, stick around and watch the rest of the video. Okay, let's build this from the ground up to see just how it works. As I'm sure you expected, we're going to start with our 4 incoming belts. Just like with many splitters and balancers, we're going to immediately cap all of them with splitters. And now we're going to do that again, but skew it one to the left or right. What this will do is enable us to bring this rightmost belt over like so. This actually perfectly balances 4 belts. Now we're going to 6, but we've gotten the 4 all mixed together and balanced now. The way this portion of it works is that these 2 belts get completely combined and then split evenly. Half of it goes into this splitter, so the contents of these 2 are evenly split, or half of the contents of these 2 is evenly split amongst these 2 belts, and the other half is evenly split amongst these 2. And the left 2 belts, well, they get mixed and evenly balanced right off the bat. So that's a lot of our work done already. Now we mainly just need to split it up evenly. Well, we're going to start that by putting down a few underground belts. 2 just jump 1 space, but the other 2 are taking a trip. They're skipping 4. Now if you need to make this with yellow belts because it's all you have or you don't have a lot of throughput, they will work here. 4 spaces is the maximum number of spaces that an underground yellow belt can actually skip. So you'll still be in good shape. Okay, now let's get our exit belts taken care of. Three splitters, nice and even. And we won't have a recycler in the exit lanes, so that's going to be it right there for the exit. Now finally, we have 3 more splitters to place. We're going to put one here, here, and here. And now let's start connecting the dots, and I'll explain to you what exactly all these are doing. We do have to handle this belt, but I'll talk about that in a second. So let's look at what this is doing. First off, as we said earlier, after these 4 balancers, everything is completely mixed and balanced. It's just a matter of splitting it up evenly. Well, a quarter of the entire load is going to end up on this belt. It comes up here and it gets split into 1/8 and 1/8. Now on the left hand side, this is going to be putting out a quarter to this belt and a quarter to this belt. So let's see what happens with those. This quarter gets here, that's 1/8 and 1/8. And this quarter goes here, 1/8 and 1/8. So that's 6/8 that we've taken care of, or 3/4. We only have 1/4 left to look for. That final quarter, since there's a quarter in each one of these belts, is this one going into the middle. These are in for a bit of a ride, but let's take a look at what's happening. Anything that comes out of this belt is going to be split evenly into this splitter or this splitter. This splitter we see evenly distributes everything to these 4 belts, half going into this splitter and half going into this splitter. So what we need to do is make half of this splitter go into the final 2 to make things even. So if we're just talking in terms of this splitter, anything coming out of it has to go through exactly 2 splitters before it gets to any outgoing lane. That means it's all going to be evenly distributed. There's just one catch. What about the remaining bit right here? Well, just like with many of our balancers, we have to recycle it. We bring it right back in, and anything coming through here goes through the same process of leaving and going through 2 splitters before it can ever reach an outgoing lane. So let's take a look at this under load. And while we're at it, I'll build one of these that we can look at as well. Okay, I've got our balancers set up, this one just being a partial of the larger one on the left, and I only used 1 underground belt instead of 4, since this is all we really need to demonstrate that this balances the load. First, let's watch this one. As you can see, it's a nice even distribution. Had a couple of extra there, but I just wasn't careful enough to make sure the items were divisible by 4. So now that we know even a varied amount of load is going to come out even out of these 4 splitters, let's take a look at the larger one to make sure that after it balances, that it also evenly distributes. Just as with all of the balancers in this series, if you have different items in the left and right lanes of your belts, they will maintain segregated in the output lanes. You don't have to use red belts, blue or yellow will work fine for this. It all depends on how much throughput you need. In our last video we covered a 4-to-4 balancer that was a lot longer than this one, but also a lot skinnier. That doesn't mean you can't use this one, obviously. This one will work just fine. It's just that sometimes you don't want to widen the track that your belts are taking. However, it's also true that sometimes you only have a very short distance to work with, so occasionally this one might make sense. And you can make it 2 spaces less wide by sending all of these through underground tunnels and just having this one come straight around. So that's a 4-to-6 splitter, engineers. I hope it's useful for you. I find that I use this one quite often when I'm loading trains at an ore patch. For some reason I always end up with 4 different belts coming in loaded with iron or copper ore, and I want to split it evenly amongst multiple chests going into a train. From here I'm going to skip the 5 belt balancers and move straight into the 6. I'll be posting a lot of 6 belt balancers because of the train situation. Only 6 inserters per side can reach a train, so 6 belts are a very common number to deal with. If you need to see a 5 belt balancer, just let me know in the comments and I'll get one made for you. This has been Bottom Line Up Front. Thanks for watching, engineers. Hit subscribe below and I'll see you next time.